I wouldn't say I chose to become a maker. I think I've just been lucky enough that I've always felt creative from being a kid. From being very young, I always loved making and playing and creating art. So yeah, it's something I think that's been inherent in me, but also from my family as well. My granddad was an engineer, my nana sewed and knitted, so did my mum, my aunties, and all our kind of curtains and duvets and school uniforms were all made. So I was from that kind of background, so I learnt how to sew and make things. So yeah, I think it's always been part of me, being a maker, and it's just been encouraged by family and by school, luckily.
And craft is often considered an immersive activity. How does this apply to your own practice? And what is the balance and approach between cognitive thinking and haptic or fine motor skills?
I get very immersed in my practice, particularly with what I'm doing at the moment. I'm working with paper and resin. I make little blocks of laminated layers and layers and layers of paper and then hand carve into them. So it's quite a labour of love. Yeah, I love all that whole immersive aspect. I love the fact that I can just go and sit with my work and forget about everything else. What was the second part of the question?
It's how your cognitive thinking relates to your fine
motor skills. It's very intuitive for me, I feel. I'm quite an intuitive maker. I never really measure things. I don't really draw things. I work from the materials, if that answers the question.
So does that, you've got a good understanding of materials and materiality then?
I feel that way, yeah. I've worked in a range of materials. Like I say, I've loved making from an early age. I've worked with textiles. I did a pattern cutting course once just because I wanted to gain experience of that. Yeah, and I like exploring the material and seeing how far I can take it. Plastics has been my big passion the last few years, and that's why I'm working with resin. Yeah.
And to what extent has prior education, both specialist and state-led, contributed to the understanding and ongoing development of your practice?
As we were discussing earlier, I think I'm from a lucky age. When I was in primary school, we were really encouraged to be creative. We had needlework lessons. We did a lot of art and painting. That's largely what I remember a lot of in primary school, making and creating. And in high school as well, we had a great team of art teachers, and we did ceramics and we had woodwork, we covered it all. So it's been very influential. My teachers are very influential to me. And then going on to uni from there, I went on to study a degree in history of art and design. So that kind of contextualised art for me, and I got very passionate about that side of things. And then I suppose I've gone back as an adult. I did evening classes, and then I did a foundation degree in jewellery and applied arts, and that's what has got me where I am now. So, yeah. But I think I've been lucky.
Well, following on from that question, how does your practice continue to evolve? And are there any additional factors or inherited or ancestral knowledge that contribute to this?
Yeah, like I say, I went back to study as an adult, post-uni days, to do Jewellery and Applied Arts. It was a foundation degree, and it was very much about me going so I could have access to equipment. I kind of knew what I wanted to do, and access to people, and I was lucky because a lot of my tutors were working in the industry as well, industry experience. So education has contributed to some degree. Inherited knowledge, again, I would say, coming from my family, a family of makers and creative people, then yeah, it has contributed.
So some of the skills that you've applied with your current work are things that you picked up from your family then?
Yeah, definitely.
And how do you see the future of craft, both in its present guise and in response to global, political, social, economic and environmental changes?
The future of craft in its present guise. Well, I'd say craft. I mean, what do you mean by craft? Because I always quote, as I teach as well, and so we always have debates about what craft is.
Well,
and arts and
yeah,
craft.
It is because it's perhaps there is occasion now people have suggested that the term craft is misused. Really, it's kind of there's almost this ad washing of the use of craft, whereas everything is classed as craft, from beer, to bread,
Yes.
window cleaning. So it's that idea of using craft can be interpreted in lots of different ways, can't it? But the idea is that we talk about it as a verb. The idea of mastering skills and applying skills, artisan skills to your making.
Yeah.
So where do you see that?
Where
do you see the role of craft in society?
I think, like I say, it's about perception, how people perceive it, and if people aren't educated about it, then that could be a negative perception of craft as seen as it's a bit fuddy-duddy. But I think it's particularly buoyant at the moment. I think everything's quite cyclical, is that the word? And there's always going to be a backlash against things, and I think because we've been going through so many technological advances, and I think there's a massive slow craft movement at the moment as well, which is really interesting. Factors like the environment, Extinction Rebellion is making people think about how we make things as well and having an impact on craft. I think the future is good. Maybe that's just me being hopeful, but yeah, I think craft, handmade things and artisan skills can definitely sit with technology. I'm not averse to technology. I don't particularly use it. I work near a laser cutting machine, but I've never really been interested in using it. I'll use it to make business cards or things like that. But and 3D printing, I'm quite interested in it. But sometimes when I see things that have been 3D printed, to me, they look a bit soulless. I feel like there's something. It seems like there's something missing from it. But yeah, I just like the physical engagement personally of making something, my arm aching, my back aching. I like to feel like I've achieved something.
Using kinetic energy.
Yeah, but I'm not disputing that there's not a lot of creative skill that goes into digital design either, because there is. So yeah, I think the future's good, yeah.
And what about the next generation of makers? Do you feel that current education is going to support future generations of makers?
Not particularly at the moment, because it's so geared up to STEM subjects, English, maths, engineering, which there is creativity too. But yeah, there needs to be more emphasis on the handmade nature and the cognitive nature of painting and playing about with ceramics and woodwork. Yeah, definitely. And just kids learning and knowing how to use things and deal with things. You know, if something breaks or if they do need to mend a pair of trousers or something, you know, being able to sew. It's scary. You talk to some teenagers and they've no idea how to, you know, thread a needle. Or what wood glue is, you know, how to fix things. To me, they're quite basic everyday skills that are part of your life, not just to be able to use creatively, to be able to get by.
And that's craftsmanship, which is applicable to everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. DIY. Yeah. And again, in this world where we're, you know, thinking about sustainability, in the environment, then you shouldn't be just chucking things away. You should be mending them, whether it's your clothes or furniture. And